This is George Dionne of the Rock is George podcast, and this is a KNAC.com exclusive interview with vocalist Flavio Lino, guitarist Chop Pittman, bassist Tony Hatton, and drummer Doug Sampson of the new wave of British heavy metal act, Airforce. So, Doug, let me start with you. If I knew absolutely nothing about Airforce, how would you describe the band's music to me?
It's a traditional heavy rock band, new wave of British heavy metal. We're not really influenced by any of the modern genres. We just play what we've always done and always through. It's a bit, I suppose, like the early Maiden stuff before they changed. We keep to a sort of a solid rock feel. And as I say, that's what we've always done, and that's what we hope to continue doing. Yeah.
Tony, your latest album is Acts of Madness. It came out February 21st through Rock of Angels Records. You guys started recording this way back in 2020, shortly after your last studio album, Strike Hard, but you had some production problems. You lost a member of the music family. Why don't you tell me what the stumbling blocks were leading up to this album?
Well, it was COVID for a start, which with some places were locked down more than others, but we were locked down pretty hard in the United Kingdom, so we couldn't go out and visit people. So we'd started work with our late friend Pete Franklin on some new tracks and some stuff, and then we was locked down. We was doing some stuff online backwards and forwards with good to technology, but Pete became ill over COVID and we never knew. And we only really found out literally weeks before he died. So anything and then it was still COVID lockdown. So we couldn't get to any of the recordings that he had and we'd been working on because he was the producer at the time. He was produced the previous album, Strike Hard. So it took till COVID lockdown was finally ended. We got to try and access all the tapes and the recorded stuff, but it was difficult because he had it was all in passcode words and stuff like that. So after a lot of time, we went back to a producer who produced us very much in the early days. One of our early demos that's on the previous album to that, our first one, the Judgment Day album, a guy called Jezz Coad, who we worked with him when he's very young, and he went on to become quite a successful producer with Simple Minds, one of his bands he works with, among many others. So actually, Chop was one who remembered and managed to get hold of Jezz again after many years. And so he agreed to come back on board and help us with this album. So we rescued some of the stuff. Chop, if you want to add anything, because you was part of this process. But we rescued some of the stuff, worked on it again. It just took a while, and we're not the quickest anyway because we like to bring out quality material. So if you rush, there's no point in putting rushed product out and it's not as good as it could be. So there was a mixture of things that happened to delay the album, but but we got there in the end. Jezz came on board, and hopefully we produced a good product and a good album.
Rob, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I do. Jezz Coad was we haven't seen him for quite a long time, and I phoned him up just off the off chance just to see if he would be interested in doing our album, and I explained to him what happened, and all our stuff was locked in to another hard drive, and it was coded. Couldn't get into it. It was a nightmare. But he actually broke the code, got into it, got all the stuff off. The guy's a legend, trust me. And he saved us a lot of time. And he's such a nice bloke. He's a great guitarist, great producer, great all-rounder. You know what I mean? And he got a lovely sound for us. And he just messed about and he made us do things that we wouldn't usually do in music, I mean. And, and it was we had a good time with him, and hopefully he'll be doing the next album.
Lino,
we're recording.
Good.
Which we're doing at the moment. I think we've got about 4 tracks already, ready to go to Jezz. So we just wait till, because Jezz has just had big heart operation. He's had a pacemaker put in. There's not I mean, he ain't old. He's only a young guy, but he's got heart problems, and he just had a pacemaker put in. So we're just waiting for him to give us the go ahead, and then I'll be going around the studio again. Yeah.
Lino, I don't know how close you guys are as band members geographically, but was there a point where you got to get together to record some of this material? Was this all back and forth file sharing type of recording?
It was back and forth file sharing, but then
Lino's answering this one.
Oh, go on then. I didn't even say Lino.
Yeah, it was all back and forth. Yeah, we did because I live in Portugal, in sunny Portugal, and they live in miserable conditions in London. And we did it by
mines
email.
Are terrible.
Yeah, the coal mines, and we did it all by email, and then back and forth, see what's good or not. I sent my vocals, then if it was good, it stayed. Otherwise, I have to change it. But it was an easy process.
Doug, from what I understand, your producer issue and getting the demo issue wasn't the only issue that delayed this album. From what I understand, there's some issues with your record label being acquired by a bigger record label. If you want to tell me a little bit about that, Doug.
Yeah, I don't really know the full details of this, but I know that we had a release date, and it was put back again, and we realised that it wasn't something was wrong, and then I think Tony probably be able to tell you more. We found out that they'd been taken over or amalgamated or something with another record company, and that put all the dates back. And I think that's why there was another delay on getting this record released. So there was all kinds of things going on. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, to be honest. Yeah.
Tony, do you have more to expand on that?
Not really. We just we had a release date. I think it was July 24 originally. That was and then we was getting closer and closer, and we just
September
didn't hear any news, and we just kept trying to get in contact with them, and then suddenly they turned around and said, "Oh, we're amalgamating with RPM Raw." Our record Raw was the original record label, and they're being taken over or join in with Raw to become RPM Raw. So that's why it got delayed about another 6 months.
So despite all the delays, Chop, from what I understand, the initial vinyl pressing sold out. The response to the album has been fantastic. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, we're just pleased. It's all because we had a tour. We started our tour in for release date, and we thought, but then we had a tour with no album because it was like just held back. So we done actually like a no album tour, and but do you know what I mean? Well, I'm just pleased with the response. It's been a great response. Which, as I say, that's sold out, and it's doing really well. And all the feedback we've had, and all the great reviews, I'm well happy.
Lino, when it comes to songwriting, is it a collaborative effort, or do these guys do the background music and you do the lyrics, or a little bit of everything?
Well, no, they compose the songs, the structure and the melodies and the harmonies. And I did some lyrics, and they do some lyrics. So, but then I can have some input, like saying, I try to change this or that. Everyone has freedom to say it's not set in stone. If Chop sends me a song, it's not set in stone. I can say like, Chop, I don't like this, and he said, okay, I'm going to change it. But if he really likes it, he will stay. But it's like that. So, but in the next album, I think it's going to be more collaborative as well. But for now, they have a lot of songs. I think we could write 4 albums now in a row. So.
Generally collaborative, though. There's always, everybody has some input into everything we do. Someone might come up with one of the main ideas, but Lino, you've written some melodies still. You've like Cursed Moon and that was your melody. It was started off as something else, didn't it? Another song. which then you changed it all, but it still comes out
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, but that's how I like to work. I like that you or Chop send me an idea, and then I can
Develop
take it elsewhere or not.
Yeah,
but
basically,
it's good that way.
what we do is we get it in a big pot and we all stir it round. We all have a look at it and listen to it. Doug says, no, change this. Tony will say, change that. Lino will start moaning about something. And then we just stir it all round. And in the end, it just comes out a great song. But there's a few arguments going on. But in the end, we just agree with it and it just comes out good. But it's good. It's a good mixture.
We all go down the pub and it all becomes right again.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you released 2 singles ahead of the album. It was Among the Shadows and Cursed Moon. Doug, do you think these are the 2 best representatives for the album to get people prepared for the whole thing?
I don't know really. I mean, I like all the songs. So it's very difficult for me to say that. I mean, people like different things, but I think it's a good. That was quite a good cross section of songs to put out there. But as I say, I like all of them. Without exception. I even the instrumental, believe it. I just love it.
But it was 3 songs. It was 3 songs. It was Among the Shadows about first. Then it was Westworld. Then Cursed Moon.
Yes.
And we've got another one coming out called The Fury, another single.
All great tracks from the album. That instrumental actually did stand out to me. I'm like, hey, this is a really good groove. It doesn't even need words. Who was responsible for that? You, Chop?
Yeah.
Is it because I don't sing in it? Is that because I don't sing in it?
You're not indisposable, Lino.
Yeah, that's the best song. Yeah.
Tony, you guys do a cover of Iron Maiden's Strange World from their self-titled album in 1980. Why this particular cover?
To me, I'd heard this song and I always liked it, but I just thought it seemed a bit tepid, shall we say? I don't know. It was done as a very soft, and I just could hear in my own head a more rockier version. But and there's a few reasons behind this, because Doug has always been asked, mainly Doug, because his Iron Maiden connections, are you going to do an Iron Maiden song? Are you going to cover it? And Doug didn't want to, and we didn't really want to just cover one for the sake of covering one. And if we did, it had to be something that was a little bit different. And then Doug had the connection because he played on the original Strange World version of the Soundhouse tapes. So Doug had some ownership in there, and that's what it was, a bit of amalgamation of all that. Then we got together. Jock came up with some new riffy parts to it. Then we thought, great, this is going to work. So Dave Sullivan contributed, one of the original guitarists as well.
And it's also a song that Iron Maiden don't play no more live. So it's like got put aside. Maiden don't play it anymore live. So we thought, it sounds good. And when I phoned up Steve said to me, why don't you ask Dave Sullivan, one of the original Iron Maiden guitarists, to play on it? So I phoned Dave up, and Dave played a little bit on it, and Steve heard it and he liked it. It's completely different from the original version. And then it goes into, what's the other song it goes into?
Remember Tomorrow.
Remember Tomorrow. Yeah, the last riff, it goes from Strange World to Remember Tomorrow. Like the last riff. It's quite quirky. I like it.
Doug, tell me about Strange World back in the late 70s.
Oh, well, we done that. We actually recorded it as a demo. It didn't go onto the Soundhouse tapes, but it was there in the recording. It was a great feeling. It was really great atmosphere when we was in the studio doing this song. It really took on its own world in there. I can remember we put it down more or less live, and put some overdubs on it. But yeah, it was a great. It was our first time that we'd been in a studio, any of us. I think Dave might have done something, but me and Steve and Paul, we'd never done anything in the studio, so it was our first sort of experience. And yeah, we went through it once, and the bloke who was producing it said, "Yeah, I think we'll do it again and we'll record it." So we just went through it second time and recorded it, and I think it came out on one of their albums, the best of. I can't remember which one it was, but I was pleased to see that.
Beast.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I'm pleased to see that it was actually released, because it seems such a waste that it didn't go on. It didn't go on the Soundhouse tapes. I don't know if they didn't have enough space for it, or it may have been a bit soft at the time. I don't know why it didn't go on there, but yeah, I'm pleased it was released.
Yeah, but the other thing, we've done that, but like in memory of Paul Dionne. Paul was a great friend of ours, and that was a great vocal from Paul years ago. When I heard that track with Paul singing it, it was like goosebumps, you know. And I've always loved that song, so it's our little tribute to Paul Dionne as well.
Mm-hmm.
Paul appeared on your last album, Strike Hard. What do you remember about that experience, Chop?
Well, the last album was good because it was done in we've done it around Pete's, and Pete was a good friend of ours, and it was much more relaxed. You go around there, he had his own studio, you just turn up, have a beer, get on with it, and then you go back, do it again. It was just a lovely, relaxed atmosphere. And Pete was like almost like a fifth member. Pete Franklin was a guitarist, singer, and you know, he kind of put a few ideas in. And when he did die, it was like a big chunk gone out of Airforce, because he was a big. He was like a fifth member, so we did kind of miss him. And you know, I still speak to his wife and that, but it's just a sad time. But I remember how much fun it was with Pete, and how many laughs we had, and then we finished the session, we do a song, go in his front room, have a few beers, just have a laugh, and that's whereas Jezz is like regimental. It's everything's got to be done perfect. Pete, everything was relaxed, and everything just took its time, and it'll come when it comes. You know, it was good done. Two different producers, two different albums, so completely different albums.
Yep. Tony, on the last album, how was it working with Paul Dionne?
Paul, we went out. Paul's always been a friend. Well, I didn't know Paul as well as Chop and Doug do. They've known him for a lot longer. I've only really got to know Paul well since we come back with Airforce, because he was on one of the first EPs on the original version of Sniper. So I met him then, but we became Facebook friends, and used to chat about. But everybody's from the same area of London, the same sort of. We all got the same sense of humour. But then because we've done the track Sniper on the EP, when we did the Strike Hard album, we had the song Don't Look in Her Eyes, and it sort of had an aggressive-y feel that we just thought would suit Paul's vocal. So Lino and Paul teamed up on that song, but we went down to his place near Salisbury, got a local studio. Pete, again, who we were just talking about, Pete came with us with a mobile recording kit system, and we recorded Paul. We had a day out to Salisbury, had a laugh with Paul, and recorded that track Don't Look in Her Eyes for the Strike Hard album.
Lino, did you have an opportunity to work with Paul?
Well, not directly, right? But I knew Paul, and we did some shows with him, and yeah, he was a nice guy. He was funny, and he was not over himself. You know what I mean? He wasn't too a star. He wasn't a star. He was just a normal guy, just cracking jokes, and yeah, I like Paul very much. But I did the song all by myself, and then Paul did his part, not mimicking me, but I already did the the melodies, and he did it differently. And I think our voices together went really well. Yeah.
Doug, you helped discover Paul Dionne for Iron Maiden back in the day. If you want to tell me a little bit about how that went down.
Yeah, we was in a club in not far from where Steve lives, in Leytonstone, the Red Lion. And I was chatting to a bloke at the bar, and he said, "How's the band doing?" I said, "Well, it's doing all right, but we haven't got a singer." And he said, "I've got a mate of mine is a singer, and I'll get him to come down." I said, "Well, we're rehearsing down Scarf tomorrow. This is a studio." And I said, "Have a word and get him down for tomorrow." So as it happens, that's what happened. He got pulled down. I'm not quite sure Paul really wanted to be there, to be honest, because he was a punk, you know. I don't know if it was his cup of tea, but his mate was a bit of he had an idea to get him down there. So that's what happened. He dragged him down there, and he'd done a couple of songs, and he just blew us away. He was, I think it was a Deep Purple cover or something. I can't remember now, but I looked at Steve and thought, "Oh, he's phenomenal. He's really, really good." And we more or less give him the job straight away. But as I say, I don't think he was really after the job, to be honest. But history tells the story. Like, that's how it went. Yeah.
Chop, Airforce is going to be doing a tribute show to Paul Dionne in memory of his 67th birthday in London, England. What can fans expect of your performance there?
We're going to do, it will be quite a lot of the new album. And it'll be, and we're going to do Sniper, because that was Paul's song. And we're just going to, just celebrate his birthday, really, and then you got an Iron Maiden band on and a Kiss band on, and what they're going to do, they're going to try and recreate when Iron Maiden supported Kiss. They're doing the same set. The Iron Maiden are doing their old set, which was with Paul Dionne, and then Kiss will be doing the set they done. I think this band, the Kiss band, are called Snog, right? And it's Iron Maiden, so it'll be a good little show. We're good friends. I knew Paul from well before, even before he joined Iron Maiden. He was always he's always had a great voice. I remember Paul singing in pubs, and I thought, Jesus, that man's got a great voice. But I knew him, we become friends really, really early on, when he was teenagers, really. So, but that's well before he joined Maiden. And when he joined Maiden, I thought, that's it now, he's cracked it. I mean, he needed that special voice from Paul, like Doug says. He is a bit of a punk, and I've actually got a punk album with Paul, right? And it's absolutely fantastic, I'll tell you. But you couldn't release it because you get arrested. But it's brilliant. It's some brilliant stuff. And Paul had that punk edge to him, you know what I mean? And it was good. And I just hope that this gig we're doing for his birthday will turn out to be a good celebration, and everyone can have a drink to Paul, you know what I mean? Because he was a big part of Iron Maiden. Without Paul, all knows it might not have took off. So Paul's a big part of Maiden.
A big part of all of our lives.
Yeah.
Lino, this is your second album with Airforce. How were you recruited into the band?
Well, they point a gun at me and said, "You get no." Well, they saw me play. They saw me sing. I went to England with a tribute band that I currently still have, and they Chop saw me singing, and he said, "The best voice in the world. Gotta talk to this guy." No, and then he talked to me at the end of the show, and then, well, I just auditioned and I stayed in the band. Yeah, it was fast, easy.
That's how it should be.
Yeah,
it was good. I mean, he done 2 rehearsals or 1 rehearsal. Then we done.
I think it was 1 rehearsal. Yeah.
1 rehearsal, and then we done the live album in Poland.
And it came out. We done the Polish show, which turned out to become a live album, but that was only very early on in Lino's time of Airforce.
Yeah, we didn't know that the show in Poland would be recorded right? We didn't know that.
No.
And otherwise, I would be maybe doing some different stuff, right? But then they said, "Oh, the record was so good. We record your show. So do you want to have a live album because this material is high quality for a live album?" They said, "Yeah, let's do it." And we had a live album like that with one rehearsal. Is my first show ever with Airforce, so just funny.
Went perfect.
Yeah.
Doug, the album's title, Acts of Madness. There's no songs on the album called Acts of Madness. How did you end up on the album title?
Well, it was going around we were discussing different names, and now I'm not sure if it was Tony or Chop come up with it. And I said, this is really good because all the songs are like acts of madness, and it just fitted the album so good. I know there's not a song on there called that, but we didn't seem to care. We just loved it. Just loved the name.
Can I butt in here?
Yeah.
Can I butt in? Well, I'll tell you right. The album name originally it was called Masters of Madness, but we got a roadie who's got the worst memory ever in the world, and he kept calling it Acts of Madness, and we thought we like that better. So because his memory is so bad, it turned from Masters of Madness to Acts of Madness, and I like
but
it.
Do you know what I remember, Chop? I think the name he said was X of Madness, like X.
Yeah,
X.
it was. It
It was X of Madness. And then someone said Acts of Madness? Acts is better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how things work out. Yeah.
That was in McDonald's.
Yeah, it was a McDonald's.
And it's like Doug said, when you look at all the tracks on the album, most of them could be termed as an act of madness.
No.
So it just seemed to fit all round.
Yeah.
Tony, you guys played the Harder Than Rock Fest in Croatia recently on March 8th. How did it go?
Oh, that went great. It was great. It was great to meet up with our friend. The opening band is a band called Odium, who we've played with before, and Dominic Fox, again with a Paul Diano connection, played in their what's the bloody band?
Architects of Chaos.
Architects of Chaos with Paul from before. Then we got to Dom has become a good friend, so we met up with them again, and then just a couple other good bands, the Burning Witches and Exciter. So it was just a great all night, a good fun night. Sorry, Enforcer, not Exciter. That's another band. But yeah, Enforcer. But yeah, it was just a good all round night. Everybody had a great time, good atmosphere. We'd never been to Croatia before to play, so that was a first as well.
Tony, how was it? Excuse me, Chop, how was it for you?
Well, the gig was fantastic. I'll tell you what, it's a 2-hour flight from England. It's not a long way away. It's a beautiful country, and I'll tell you what, I've never met so many nice people. It's just lovely people, and it was a great gig. Everything was like sorted out for us. Yeah, it was run. It was like so professional. Everything was there for us. The drum kits, the speakers, everything was there, and it's just come in, done the sound check. Great sound check, great sound, great venue, and we really enjoyed it. And I'll say, Burning Witches, they're lovely people. We spoke to we didn't really speak in full so much because they kept themselves to themselves, you know what I mean? But the rest of the bands, we all had a laugh, and they all come to our dressing room. They all don't know what, all congregate in our dressing room. We all had a drink, and Doug was out of his head. Doug was proper out of his head. Tony was asleep, and I was the only one. I was the only one that was half sober. But it was a great gig. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was.
Doug, is that true? You missed out on the activities?
Yeah. No, we all had a great time. We all had a good few beers and that. And no, it was good. I think everybody just come to our dressing room because we had the fridge in there, you see, and it was backed out. So I think that's what it was all about. I don't think it was because they liked us that much.
Lino, I'm told the Croatian heavy metal fans are crazy. What was it like up on stage in the front?
Yeah, I think we had a good reaction from the crowd. I think everyone liked us, and we took a lot of pictures after that. People were wanting to take pictures with us, and yes, back to the topic. If one of us don't drink beer, we will be cast out of the band. So it's like you have to drink to be in Airforce. So, right? They said that to me. I like your voice, Lino, but do you like beer? And I said, yeah, I love beer. So you're hired. It was like that.
Chop, when's the next live performance date or tour?
The next live performance date will be in London.
Will be Dionne
with the Paul Dionne, and then we're going to Europe to do some shows in some part of Germany. I don't know. Tony will tell you that one. Where in Germany somewhere, and we're supposed to be going back to South America at some point this year, because we played in Colombia. That was fantastic. Colombia, it was 2 big arenas, and that was amazing. Pardon, Tom?
With Paul as well on board with us.
Yeah, with Paul.
We all travelled together, didn't we?
Yeah, where are we playing in London? I mean, in Germany.
Oh, I can't remember. There's one in Frankfurt, and I can't remember the other town. It's near the. I'll have to look it up again. But it's not till September.
Doug, you and Chop met way back in '87 to form Airforce, and Airforce was around for a good 10 years, a little more than 10 years back then. Why is there no recordings from that time period? Why can't I find any?
We did do, I think we've done about 5 recordings. I think they're on the first album, The Judgment Day. If I'm pretty sure they're on that. But they weren't really sort of. We didn't really release anything in them at that point. It wasn't like it is now. It was a lot. I think it was trickier in them days, as it is now with the internet and that. You can get your music across quite easily. But in them days, it was just if you didn't get a record deal, no one was going to hear you. It was only at gigs and records and sales of records. And unfortunately, we never got a record deal at that time. So that's probably why you can't really hear our earlier stuff. I say we did release it. I think it was Judgment Day that our songs were on. That's one of our earlier albums, but it was more like we put that out more or less ourselves, sort of thing. It wasn't through a company.
Okay. There's no like old demos from like '88 sitting around in somebody's basement.
Yeah, there is some demos. We've done a lot of, because what happened and all, we had a lot of singers. We had one singer, then he would leave because of women trouble. Then we got another singer, and he would leave because he just got married, and it just went on. We had so many problems with singers, and then we had to get. It was just a nightmare. We was cursed with different singers, so we couldn't put nothing out because the next album, the next track would be a different singer. So if you listen to Judgment Day, I think there's about 5 singers on that, 5 different singers on Judgment Day. So and it was a complete nightmare. And then we met Lino.
But even when we reformed Airforce back in 2016, we still went through a few singers until we got to Lino.
Yeah. We went through 4 singers. Yeah,
it's not easy to find another beer monster.
True.
It's almost like being a drummer in Spinal Tap. There's just something.
Yes, that's exactly like that.
Nobody spontaneously combusted in Airforce, right?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Well, those are all the questions I have for you guys. The new Airforce album is Acts of Madness. It's out now through Rock of Angels Records and RPM. And I want to thank you guys for taking the time to talk about it today and telling me all about it.
Okay,
No problem.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Been a pleasure. Thank you very much.